6 boundaries that make women respect you more. Stoicism. Old Stoic Wisdom. Every man who has achieved true value in life understands one crucial lesson. Respect cannot be demanded. It must be earned through your actions, your boundaries, and your presence. It isn't found in words or promises, but in the way you stand firm, the way you maintain your composure, and the strength of character you carry with you wherever you go. Women don't honour empty declarations. They aren't moved by sweet talk. They respect the man who knows his worth, who upholds his values without wavering, even in moments of discomfort. You don't lose respect from your woman because you stop loving her. You lose it when you stop commanding it through your actions and your boundaries. Respect slips away quietly, bit by bit. It's not a single dramatic event. It's a slow erosion. With every small compromise, every little surrender of your dignity, you allow the man she once admired to fade into something unrecognizable. The real danger is not losing respect in one grand fall, but in tolerating what you once promised never to accept. But today, that stops. Today, you shift from asking for respect to embodying it, living it without question. I'm about to share with you 5 vital boundaries that every man must protect. Not to control, not to manipulate, but to safeguard the most important thing you possess, your sense of self. These boundaries will help you become the man you were always destined to be. If you're ready to take back your power, make the choice now. Drop a comment below and declare your commitment. I choose respect. As the Stoics say, he who is brave is free. Stand firm in your boundaries, and the respect you seek will follow. Let's comment, he who is brave is free. And now, let's begin. Number 1. Never reward disrespect. The first rule in gaining true respect from women, and from people in general, is to never tolerate disrespect. Every man faces a crucial, quiet decision at some point, to either defend his dignity or surrender it, sometimes without a single word, not in anger, but with a shrug, a silence. Disrespect doesn't always come in the form of blatant insults or physical altercations. More often, it creeps in subtly. It might start with a sarcastic remark that you laugh off to keep the peace, or with her turning a cold shoulder when you seek her attention. Maybe it's a small, cutting comment that leaves a sting, but you choose to swallow it, ignoring the need to address it. The moment you let that slide, you've sent a message. Your standards are negotiable. You might think you're protecting the relationship, avoiding unnecessary conflict, but you're actually undermining the very foundation of respect. What you lose in that moment isn't just a fleeting moment of affection, it's her admiration for you. And once admiration fades, love soon follows behind. It doesn't matter how loyal you are, how generous with gifts, or how long you've been together. A woman cannot be inspired or drawn to a man who doesn't command her respect. She senses it instantly when you prioritize comfort over principle, when you let her disrespect you and pretend nothing happened. Respect doesn't come with grand gestures. It's built in the quiet, invisible moments where you set boundaries, small but clear, and say, this far, no further. The moment you hesitate, tolerate, or make excuses, you begin to lose your own edge. And a man without his edge is a man on the path to forgetting who he truly is. Disrespect isn't always loud or dramatic. Often, it appears as the constant interruptions when you speak, the roll of the eyes when you share your ambitions, or the comparison to other men, each designed to subtly undermine you. It's the silence after you've set a boundary, an unspoken punishment for daring to stand tall. It's the jokes made at your expense, laughed off by others, while you pretend you didn't feel the sting. Many men miss these signals, rationalizing them away as her being emotional or thinking she didn't mean it. But every time you excuse even a small hit, you're handing her a blueprint on how to chip away at your worth. She doesn't need to scream or belittle you outright. All she needs is to see you swallow your pride once, twice, until you become a man she no longer fears losing. Remember, you teach people how to treat you, not through grand speeches, but through the silent, unspoken agreements you make when you allow disrespect to slide. And when you let those moments go unchallenged, you're creating a pattern, a crack that will widen over time, becoming the very story of who you are. When you let disrespect go unchecked, you lose the clarity of your own boundaries, and a man without clear boundaries eventually loses himself. When disrespect surfaces, no matter how small, your response will define your future. Many men react, arguing, pleading, trying to explain why they deserve better. But the man who commands true respect doesn't react. He responds. His response is simple, not loud or dramatic, but decisive. He calmly corrects the behavior once, with clear, direct words. Don't speak to me like that again. If it happens again, he doesn't beg, explain, or get angry. He simply leaves, not out of rage, but out of respect for himself. By walking away, he shows that he values his dignity more than comfort or acceptance. A man who lets even one offense slide invites countless more. Each time you tolerate disrespect, you teach the world that you're willing to trade your dignity for fleeting comfort. But when you stand firm, quietly, and with an unshakable sense of your own worth, you become something rare. Your presence sharpens, your voice deepens, and your energy shifts. People sense it before you even speak. The ones who respect strength and authenticity, the ones worth keeping, will draw closer to you. The others will fall away, and that's fine. You're not here to please everyone. You're here to be respected by those who matter. Stand firm, not in anger or pride, but in the quiet certainty of your own value. That's how you stop rewarding disrespect. That's how you build a life where only the worthy can enter. As the great philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Stand firm, for your dignity and your future depend on it. Number 2, guard your peace. Guarding your peace is a choice every man faces at some point in life, a choice that quietly yet powerfully determines the quality of the days that follow. Will he surrender to the endless distractions and demands of the world, or will he defend his inner peace with unwavering conviction? The truth is, peace is not a gift bestowed upon you by fate or happenstance. It is not a byproduct of luck. Peace is something you must actively protect, as if it were the most precious thing you possess, because, in a very real sense, it is. Without peace, a man begins his day already at a disadvantage, responding to every insult, justifying himself to skeptics, and chasing after issues that were never his to resolve. He finds himself performing constantly for those who wouldn't notice if he fell apart, for women who test his limits, for friends who drain his energy, and for a society that rewards his exhaustion with nothing but empty praise. This isn't a life worth living. It's just surviving. True peace, on the other hand, is a quiet strength. It's the ability to navigate the world without the need to constantly prove oneself. A man who has peace doesn't need to defend himself with words. He does so with his presence. He enters a room and changes the atmosphere simply by being there. Disrespect doesn't provoke a reaction. It invites his absence. He chooses stillness over chaos, clarity over confusion. Yet, most men lose their peace in the smallest of ways, often without realizing it. Every argument with someone unworthy, every response to a disrespectful message, every yes born out of guilt, and every chaotic interaction they engage in just to avoid loneliness, slowly leaks away their peace. These seemingly insignificant actions slowly erode a man's sense of self, until all that's left is a hollow shell, someone who has become the mask of the man they used to be. A strong foundation cannot be built on such fragility. Likewise, no successful relationship can be led by a man whose mind is constantly in turmoil. Respect cannot be earned by a man desperate for relief. True peace is the solid ground upon which everything else in life is built. It is the invisible armor that shields you from the storms of life. Women recognize this immediately. They can sense when a man's mind is scattered, when his time is being wasted, when his boundaries are unclear. They do not admire it. They don't fall more in love with it. Instead, they sense weakness and feel the need to take control. No woman truly respects a man who needs to be led. To guard your peace is to become unavailable to nonsense, not out of bitterness, not out of fear, but because you have intentionally designed your life to be purposeful. It means being selective about who you allow into your inner circle and being mindful of what you expose yourself to. Your conversations, your habits, and your entertainment all have the power to either protect or poison your peace. And so, you must constantly ask yourself, does this protect my peace, or does it undermine it? If it undermines it, it must go, without explanation, without second chances, and without dramatic exits. A man who is at peace no longer feels the need to explain his worth or chase after attention or validation that was never meant for him. Instead, he learns to stand firm in his stillness. A man who guards his peace doesn't chase chaos. He is so resolute in his center that chaos trips over itself trying to catch him. Each day you rise not to chase status, but because the quiet hours are your sanctuary. You train your body not for vanity, but because physical order feeds mental clarity. You tidy your space not to impress anyone, but because you refuse to allow disorder to rent space in your mind. You walk alone sometimes, not out of loneliness, but because a man at peace enjoys his own company more than the empty noise that others surround themselves with. You say no without hesitation and without the need to explain yourself. Unanswered texts remain unanswered. People may misunderstand you, but you no longer feel the need to rush to defend yourself. You let them wonder and talk because while they gossip, you are building. While they question, you are creating. While they spiral, you ascend. Understand this. When a woman tests you with drama, silence, or sudden withdrawal, she isn't trying to break you. She's simply looking for your center. She leans against your walls to see if they will crumble. She pulls at your roots to see if you will stand. If every time she challenges you, you flinch or react, you demonstrate that you lack a core, only reactive instincts. But if you remain still, if you hold your ground and endure the silence longer than she can withstand her confusion, if you respond only when it suits you, you don't just protect your peace, you project it. In doing so, you create an environment where she either rises to meet you or falls away, and either outcome is a victory for you because no love, no friendship, no job, and no external approval is worth sacrificing your inner peace. If you lose yourself in an attempt to hold on to someone or something, you haven't won. You've lost yourself. What value is there in love if it costs you your essence? Guard your peace as a man would guard his kingdom, unyielding, uncompromising, and without the need for justification. Build it so strong that it offends those who thrive in chaos, so authentic that it attracts the right people while repelling the wrong ones. When you live with such intentionality, the things you once sought, validation, attention, admiration, and respect, begin to chase you. You become the rarest man in the room, the one who doesn't need the world to notice him to know he matters. That is the essence of peace, and once you possess it, you will never trade it again. Not for love, not for validation, not for anyone. If you truly believe in the power of guarding your peace, drop a comment right now. I protect my peace with unwavering strength. Like this video, subscribe for more wisdom that empowers you to live intentionally, and remind yourself daily, your peace is your power. Number 3, don't share too much. You see, there's a crucial truth about your emotional boundaries that far too many men miss. Don't share too much, too soon. There's a part of you she should never fully see, not because you're hiding anything, but because mystery breathes life into connection. Women don't want to know every intricate detail of your past, every fear you hold, every emotional wound you've endured, even if their words may seem to suggest otherwise. No, they want to feel your depth, but they don't want to dive into its bottomless pit every day. They want to sense the weight you carry, but never be asked to lift it. If you're spilling out every thought and emotion, every vulnerability in one constant stream, you no longer remain an intriguing enigma. You become a burden, a project. And let me tell you something. Women do not fall in love with projects. They fall for men who carry their burdens quietly, men who reveal themselves gradually. Like the steady warmth of a sunrise, measured, intentional, and beautiful. Understand this. In today's world, you've been taught to open up endlessly, to expose your emotions as proof of trust. But consider this. How often did that really make her admire you more? Did her eyes brighten when you confessed your anxieties? Or did she recoil when you shared your doubts and insecurities? Did she lean in closer when you showed her your pain? Or was there a subtle shift, almost imperceptible, where she began to see you less as her protector and more as a man she felt responsible for saving? This isn't what you want. Women don't want to rescue you. They want a man they can lean on, not the other way around. Having emotions doesn't make you weak, but bleeding them out at every opportunity does. True strength is found in the ability to feel deeply and still move through the world with quiet confidence. The most respected men are those who feel deeply, yet move with intention and restraint. They never drop their emotional burdens at her feet, expecting her to bear them. Instead, they shoulder them themselves, integrating their pain quietly, steadily, and sometimes in solitude. They don't expect her to solve their problems. They solve them alone, and then share their victories when the time is right. You see, strength is not the absence of feeling. It's the ability to feel without being thrown off balance. When you expose every corner of your soul too early, you create emotional clutter. You overwhelm her, and confusion sets in. She doesn't know how to navigate it, doesn't know her role in your world. Instead of feeling safe in your openness, she starts to feel smothered, not because she's cruel, but because she's inherently wired to lean on you, not to carry the weight of your soul on her back. This is where most men get it wrong. They think that talking endlessly about their emotions builds trust or connection, but the opposite is true. The more you reveal, the less there is to discover, and with that, attraction fades. Predictability is the death of desire. Women don't fall for men who are open books. They fall for those who maintain an air of mystery, those who leave them wanting more, who provoke curiosity rather than quenching it. This isn't manipulation. This is mastery. Mastery of your emotions, of your narrative, and of your power. You don't speak every time you feel discomfort. You speak when your words serve your purpose, when they strengthen your presence. You don't share your wounds to garner sympathy. You share your victories to inspire trust. You don't spill your heart at every crack in your armor. You reveal it slowly, intentionally, like the sunrise that changes everything, yet demands nothing. A respected man knows that his story is a treasure, not a brochure to be handed out to everyone who asks. He understands that to be respected, he must allow her to earn the right to know him. He lets curiosity do its work, drawing her in with glimpses of his true self, never laying it all out at once. When she asks, he answers, but just enough to keep the mystery alive. He never withholds out of fear. He does so because he understands the value of polarity, the very tension that keeps desire alive. He never drowns her in his emotions, but lets his inner strength radiate through his silence, through his presence. He builds connection, not by confession, but by consistency, by living in such a way that she is drawn to him, not because he demands attention, but because he commands respect. You want to transform your relationships? Then stop pouring out your soul as though it's some public spectacle. Stop giving away pieces of yourself like they're pennies to be spent freely. Treat your emotions like the rarest of treasures. The less you share, the more they lean in. The less you seek approval, the more they seek you. Because in a world where too many men are desperate to be seen, the man who stands strong, silent, and centered is the one who commands attention. When you share too much too soon, you dilute your power. You create emotional noise, and a man who speaks constantly is nothing more than a signal that fades into the background. But a man who speaks only when it strengthens his purpose, a man who carries his burdens without dropping them on others, is the man who becomes unforgettable. When you finally reveal your soul, it should not be to burden others with your pain, but to show them a glimpse of resilience. You do not offload your struggles, you demonstrate your endurance. You don't bleed out. Instead, you rise slowly, like light breaking over a sleeping world. That's the man she will never forget. The one who doesn't reveal every inch of himself, but instead holds back just enough to keep her wanting more. The less you spill, the more they lean in. The less you seek approval, the more they seek you. It is in this space, this mastery of silence and restraint, that you find not only respect, but true connection. As Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." The freedom to be who you are without the constant need for validation is the cornerstone of respect, and it is what ultimately makes you a man who cannot be forgotten. If you found this valuable, comment below, and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember. True strength is feeling deeply, yet staying confident. Number 4. No emotional reactivity. Mastery doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop letting your feelings dictate your moves. Real control isn't coldness, it's depth. It's when you can feel everything but respond only to what matters. A man who is easily moved by the whims of others, by a comment, a glance, a withdrawal, has not yet touched the roots of his own strength. The world, whether it knows it or not, wants you reactive. The media pokes you. Your friends prod you. Women test you because reaction is weakness displayed in motion. When you react, you hand over the steering wheel of your soul. You say, "Here, guide me," to whoever pushes the hardest. You've seen it happen. One moment you feel calm, then she shifts her tone just slightly. She says something laced with sarcasm. She pulls her energy away without a word, and before you know it, your stomach twists, your mind races, your words chase after hers like wind, scrambling to catch water. This is emotional reactivity. It's when your inner world is no longer your own. It's a puppet on invisible strings. The moment she senses she can move you at will, the respect in her heart begins to rot. Slowly, silently, permanently. Not because she's cruel, but because she can no longer trust you to be the mountain. You become another leaf in the storm, not the rock beneath her feet. Emotional sovereignty is not about shutting down. It's about standing up internally, feeling every wave, but choosing which ones deserve your movement. It's about facing the part of yourself that panics when someone disapproves, that flinches when someone pulls away, that rushes to fix, to chase, to beg, and saying to that part, "You don't get to lead anymore. You watch your impulses, you observe your triggers, you sit with the tension, you let silence do what scrambling never could. Reveal who truly stands on steady ground. The space between stimulus and response, that sacred pause, is where kings are born. You don't lash out. You don't explain yourself. You don't chase after fleeing energy. You stand, you watch, you wait. Because mastery isn't loud. It's quiet. It's calm. It's the unshakable presence that says, "I choose my battles. I choose my emotions." When a woman tests you, when a boss questions you, when a stranger disrespects you, you do not crumble. You do not react. You stay rooted. And in that stillness, something shifts. She doesn't just relax. She melts. Because in a world where men fold at the first gust of wind, the man who stands still becomes unforgettable. But you cannot fake this calm. You cannot plaster it over boiling insecurity. You must dig deeper. Face your impatience. Face your fear of abandonment. Face your need to explain yourself. Own them. Disarm them until you're no longer moved by every tug on your emotions. You see behind the words. You hear the fear behind the anger. You see the insecurity behind the silence. And instead of reacting, you remain clear, disciplined. You no longer need the last word. You no longer defend your character to those unworthy of judging it. You protect your energy like a king guards his crown. If someone wants your attention, they must come correctly. No noise, no drama, no chaos. This quiet strength changes everything. The people who once provoked you grow frustrated because you no longer dance to their chaos. The ones who seek peace start to orbit around you because calm attracts clarity and clarity repels confusion. You speak less. You move slower. You observe deeper. You don't flinch at her mood swings. You don't chase when she pulls away. You don't scramble to explain yourself when misunderstood. Her storms no longer rock your foundation. Instead, you become the safe harbor she didn't even know she was searching for, not because you fixed her, but because you didn't lose yourself trying to. And life rewards this kind of man, because most men are slaves to their feelings, calling it passion. They burn bridges, they pick fights, they crumble under rumors, they chase validation. But you exit chaos like it's beneath you, because it is. You walk through storms untouched. You rise from betrayal without drama. You hear lies about you and stay silent because truth doesn't panic. You are ghosted, doubted, criticized, and still, you move forward, quietly, powerfully. No emotional reactivity means you no longer hand over your destiny to the mood of the moment. You choose your path with calm. You build your kingdom with discipline, one unshakable boundary at a time, and in doing so, you become the man the world cannot move because you are no longer led by feeling. You are led by purpose. If this message spoke to your heart today, leave a comment about faith. I am a high-value man. Number 5. Always be willing to walk away. One of the most important boundaries a man can set in his life is the willingness to walk away when necessary. There comes a moment in every man's life when sticking around in a situation, whether it's a dead-end job, a toxic relationship, or a friendship that drains you, becomes more damaging than leaving. Yet too many men stay, not because they believe in the situation, but because they fear the unknown that lies on the other side of the change. The familiar discomfort of what they know feels easier to bear than the fear of the uncertainty. They shrink in these situations. They smile through the pain, telling themselves, "It's not that bad," while slowly losing pieces of themselves. But the man who dares to walk away is rare. He doesn't stay for comfort or complacency. He stays for alignment. When that alignment fades, he doesn't hesitate to walk away. This is not about being reckless or abandoning responsibilities. It's about being loyal to your own standards and ultimately to your soul. Women too can sense when a man is merely clinging to her attention, as opposed to being truly fulfilled by the peace and purpose she brings into his life. A man who clings to something out of fear will constantly be tested, while a man who stands firm in his beliefs and his boundaries commands silent respect. The man who is willing to walk away demands no validation, but is treated with the utmost regard simply because he has set his own terms. He doesn't chase after love, recognition, or approval, but instead lives in a way that demands respect by the very nature of his existence. Walking away is not a sign of weakness or coldness, but a sacred act of self-respect. It shows that you love yourself enough to refuse to betray your own values, to say, "I love you, but I will not compromise who I am for you." When you make this choice, you attract the right people, not because you're chasing them, but because you've become a force of nature in your own right. Your gravity shifts. You stop justifying yourself, you stop pleading for respect, and you stop waiting for others to value what you know is already priceless. Peace becomes more valuable than fleeting pleasure, and you come to understand that comfort zones, no matter how beautiful, are nothing more than cleverly disguised prisons. You refuse to be a prisoner of your own fears or limitations. True strength isn't loud, it's not brash. It's the quiet, calm strength of a man who walks away without drama, without apology, simply because his peace and integrity matter more than the approval of others. If you want to transform your life, start practicing this boundary. Be willing to walk away from any job, relationship, friendship, or situation that demands you shrink or become less than who you are. Every time you choose yourself, you sharpen your edge, you deepen your peace, and you start to see how your life shifts toward better things. The man who once compromised, who begged for approval, who settled for less than he deserved, begins to dissolve. The man who remains is not desperate for attention, not afraid of pressure, and not swayed by others' opinions. He becomes stronger in silence. He doesn't need to scream for validation because his very presence commands respect. You were never meant to kneel for love or attention. You were meant to stand tall, quietly, calmly, powerfully. Respect isn't something you demand. It's something you earn by the way you live. So when the time comes to walk away, don't hesitate. Walk away even when it hurts. Walk away without apology, because your soul was never meant to live in chains. It was meant to soar, free and powerful, fully aligned with your highest self. If you've made it this far, you're already starting to understand the power of boundaries. The man who dares to walk away with strength, integrity, and self-respect becomes someone whose presence commands respect without chasing it. Now, take the next step. Comment below. I choose self-respect over complacency. Let's see you make that commitment today. Number 6. Always value your time. Time is not just an asset. It is the foundation upon which everything you build stands. The way you manage and value your time dictates the level of respect you command from others. A man who respects his time does not allow it to be hijacked by unimportant distractions or people who don't contribute to his mission. He recognizes that time is the one thing you can never get back, and once it's gone forever. When you allow others to waste your time, whether it's on meaningless conversations, unnecessary drama, or irrelevant tasks, you send a message that your time isn't valuable. But a man who values his time understands its irreplaceable nature. Every minute spent is either an investment in his growth, his relationships, or his purpose. If you're constantly reacting to other people's demands, you lose the opportunity to create the life you want. You become reactive rather than proactive, and as a result, you relinquish control of your destiny. A man who values his time is intentional in how he spends it. He plans his day with purpose. He structures his life so that everything he does has a reason, a return on investment. He isn't waiting for validation or approval from others because he knows his time is too valuable to be wasted seeking external recognition. He moves with clarity, knowing that every decision he makes should align with his values and his long-term goals. This is where respect is born, by showing others that your time is sacred. You don't entertain distractions or participate in conversations that drain you. When you value your time, you stop being available for everyone and everything. You become selective about where and with whom you spend your energy, because you understand that those who respect your time are the ones worth your focus. In turn, people begin to notice this boundary and treat your time with the same reverence you do. Imagine this. Every time someone asks for your time, you have the discernment to evaluate whether or not it's a worthwhile investment. If it doesn't serve your personal growth or align with your mission, you say no. Not with guilt or hesitation, but with the quiet confidence of someone who understands their worth. You no longer need to explain yourself when you turn down invitations or requests that don't fit into your priorities. You simply choose your time, and in doing so, you protect your most precious resource. This principle extends to how you manage relationships as well. If someone consistently takes up your time without offering value or respect in return, you recognize it for what it is, an imbalance. The man who values his time doesn't tolerate these toxic dynamics. He understands that time spent in unhealthy relationships or unproductive environments is time lost forever. Instead of clinging to people or situations out of fear of missing out or losing comfort, he walks away. He doesn't need to explain himself. He doesn't need to beg anyone to value him. He simply chooses his own peace, his purpose, and his growth over anyone who tries to demand more of his time than he is willing to give. What many fail to realize is that the way you value your time reflects the boundaries you have set for your own life. It's a direct reflection of how you value yourself. When you protect your time, you're saying to the world that you have priorities, that your life has purpose, and that you are not at the mercy of external pressures. The more you do this, the more others respect your boundaries because they see that you are a man with direction, clarity, and self-respect. The most powerful people in the world are not those with the most money, the loudest voices, or the largest followings. They are the ones who have mastered the art of time management. They understand that every minute is a chance to create something meaningful, whether it's work, personal growth, or relationships. These men know that their time is valuable because they've learned the hard way that when you give it away indiscriminately, you lose a piece of yourself with every concession. Now, think about this. What would it feel like to walk into any room knowing that you control how you spend your time? Imagine no longer feeling obligated to engage in conversations that drain you, or feeling like you have to constantly explain yourself to justify why you won't do something. Instead, you walk with the quiet confidence of a man who knows that his time is too precious to waste. You don't need external validation. Your time speaks for itself. When you protect your time, you also become less reactive to the chaos that often surrounds you. You stop being caught up in the frantic pace of life that demands your attention at every turn. Instead, you carve out space for stillness, for contemplation, for the things that truly matter. In this stillness, you become more focused and disciplined. Your energy is not scattered, but channeled into the things that align with your mission and purpose. A man who values his time is a man who values his life. He values his journey, his growth, and his evolution. And when you live like this, others take note. They begin to respect not just your time, but everything you stand for. They begin to realize that you are not just another person drifting through life. You are someone with purpose, someone who makes decisions based on principle, not impulse. And that is a rare and respected trait in today's world. So remember this. Every time you make a conscious decision to protect your time, you reinforce your boundaries. You show the world that your life has direction, that you will no longer accept anything or anyone that distracts you from your path. You do this not out of arrogance, but out of a deep respect for yourself. And as you continue to guard your time with precision and purpose, you will notice how the world around you begins to change. People will respect you more, not because you demand it, but because you live it, through every decision you make and every boundary you set. In the end, when you truly value your time, you stop chasing approval. You stop seeking validation from external sources. You become the master of your own journey, and as you do, you earn the respect that is naturally drawn to those who live with purpose, integrity, and strength. Hey, thanks so much for sticking with me until the end. I hope you found some value in today's video, and if you did, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. It means a lot. If this message resonated with you, share it with a man who needs to hear it, someone who might need that reminder of his own worth. We all need that sometimes, and it's important to lift each other up. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and any experiences you might want to share. I choose my soul over comfort because at the end of the day, comfort won't build your character or help you grow. When you stand firm in your boundaries and beliefs, that's when real respect comes. And here's the thing. When you support this movement, you're not just helping grow this channel, you're helping another man find the strength to walk with dignity again. You're part of something bigger than just a video. You're empowering a man to reclaim his sense of self-respect and take control of his life with purpose and confidence. That's what this is all about. Remember, setting boundaries is not about shutting people out. It's about ensuring you protect your peace, honor your values, and cultivate relationships that are rooted in respect, not fear. Never let anyone convince you that setting boundaries makes you less of a man. In fact, it's one of the strongest, most responsible things you can do for yourself. So, take what you've learned today and put it into practice. Be the man who stands firm, lives with integrity, and commands the respect you deserve. And don't forget to share this message. It could change someone's life. I'll see you in the next one. Stay strong, stay true, and always choose yourself first. Take care.